Yes, my question is, it's in regards to the pimps, is it you call it? The until terror.
T-pimps.
Yeah, pimps.
T-pimps.
That's it.
T-pimps.
Yeah.
The new control orders.
Yeah.
On you go,
Yes.
Fatima.
Yeah.
What I'm asking the mayor is, there've been flaws in that system a while ago, been rectified. But isn't it about time the government looks at it again? If you could have these people escaping the surveillance.
This is in the light, of course, of Ahmed Mohammed in Acton, believed to have gone into a mosque dressed in Western-style clothing, emerged in a burqa, and now apparently on the run. But the Home Secretary says we've got nothing to worry about. Mr. Mayor.
Well, I think Fatima is completely right in questioning whether TPIMs are working at the moment in the way that they should be working, in the way that we want them to work. And plainly,
what do you think?
If a fellow can get into a burqa and evade his invigilators in the way that that Mr. Mohammed has done, then I think we clearly need to look at how it is working, and I understand people's feelings. But the most important thing is that anybody who knows the whereabouts of Mr. Mohammed, should bring him very, very speedily to justice.
Do you think TPIMs are working?
Well, plainly, they're not working in the way that we would like them to work, in the sense that this guy, Mohammed, was able, as everybody knows, to flee in absurd circumstances.
Second in 10 months.
And there must be questions about whether we should be tougher in the way that we administer these.
It's reported one of the architects of TPIMs is Nick Clegg.
Well, you know, I mean, there is politics behind this. If you remember, Nick, there was a system of control orders
brought in by the Labour government, which the Conservatives wanted to strengthen up, and Lib Dems effectively
was in place,
watered down, and we ended up with a TPIM courtesy of Nick Clegg, Mr. Mayor.
Well, there are definitely coalition politics here, and I'm sure that there will be very lively discussions going on now between Theresa May, who is, I'm sure, very, very much in favour of the strongest possible measures, and her colleagues in the Liberal Democrats, and I'm sure she will be saying to them, listen, this is ludicrous. We are having too many of these types of evasion. The TPIM system perhaps should be strengthened. I'm sure that is a point that Theresa will be making.
And one of the key aspects of the old control order was one of geography, in that you were moved away from where had been your home. Under a TPIM, for the purpose of debate, you can come back to Acton. Where do you say,
and I think
should you be frozen out from where you live, or should you be allowed to return?
It is you and I have discussed before, and listeners will know, this is a very difficult problem. There are thousands,
right.
but
I'm a
small
terrorist.
number of
I live in Blackheath. Yeah. Am I set in Birmingham, or am I allowed to come back to my base in Blackheath?
I think, depending on how much of a risk you are deemed to pose, in my view, you should be deprived of contact with the networks that might help you in whatever end you desire. So there might be that this guy Mohammed was obviously helped to escape. I don't believe for a minute that he did it on his own. Someone helped him. He was in contact with people who were sympathisers in his group of whatever they are, whatever they happen to believe in, and I think that that characters such as him, who, even if he doesn't pose an immediate threat to this country, it is plain that he is a danger. Characters such as him should be more closely invigilated than they currently are being, and I'm sure that is a point that Theresa May will be taking up very actively.
And lastly on this, some of your Conservative colleagues in the party were suggesting that we should now look at banning the burqa. Now, with your rich and colourful lineage, I would imagine you'll have strong views on that.
Well, I don't believe in banning things, banning items of dress altogether. I certainly think that it's a bit much to ask teachers or judges to deal with people who have their faces covered. That seems to me to be not how we do things in this country. And I think it's absolutely reasonable to say that face veils, burqas, whatever, should not be acceptable in state-funded classrooms in this country, and nor should they be acceptable in the system of British justice.
But a knee-jerk reaction that it would appear a terrorist suspect is on the run because he dressed in a burqa, the idea then we should ban it is something I don't think...
Well, I mean, you might as well ban ski masks or balaclavas or whatever. I mean, I think you're starting to get into to ludicrous territory there.
Okay. Have you been told by police lastly on this, was Mohammed working alone?
I haven't been given... obviously, I had a general briefing when we knew that he had escaped. We had a general briefing to that effect, but I haven't had any particular briefings about whether he was working alone or not.
So the Metropolitan Police haven't told the mayor whether he's solo or whether he's part of a gang?
I haven't been given that information.
You find that rather surprising?
Well, I mean, I'm not certain whether they know that information or not.
You haven't asked?
I am, at the moment, content to let the Metropolitan Police, let the security services get on with it without ventilating too much
this
on
is
the...
a terror suspect on the loose in London,
LBC
and you don't seek to ask,
airwaves.
is he alone? Or does he have other operatives? You wouldn't seek to ask that.
Well, from what I've said, it's pretty clear that I believe, and my hunch is that he is not operating alone. But I don't simply that it seems very unlikely to me that somebody could be able to escape in a burqa in the way that he did from a mosque without some form of assistance. Now, I stress that I don't have any police confirmation of this, nor if I did would I discuss it with you on the airwaves.
Do you watch Homeland?
I have watched Homeland. Do you watch Homeland?
I wish I knew what was going on, but that's a whole separate conversation, Mr. Mayor.